These are 4 LEGO F1 cars. These are 2 F1 cars from CaDA. They are all officially licensed 1 to 8 F1 car sets. Their prices upon purchase range from a little over $40 to a little over $180. So why is there such a big difference? Through this comparative review in this issue, let's take a look at which 1 to 8 scale F1 set is the most worthwhile to purchase. According to the release time sequence of the sets, these 6 F1 sets are respectively LEGO 42141 McLaren MSC L36, CaDA 64005 Alfa Romeo C42, LEGO 42171 Mercedes W14, CaDA 64010 Sauber CA44, and the 2 new LEGO products launched in March that we have conducted in-depth reviews of in previous videos, 42206 Red Bull RB20 and 42207 Ferrari SF24. First of all, through the comparison of the fundamental aspects, although they are all 1 to 8 F1 sets, in terms of the number of parts, the Sauber C44, which has the largest number of parts, has a full 88% more parts than the Ferrari SF24, which has the smallest number of parts. And it is also 56% heavier. The 2 sets from CaDA do indeed have significantly more parts than the 4 sets from LEGO. When we place them side by side, the visual differences in volume among these 6S1 models don't actually reach as significant a gap as 56% or 88%. Relatively speaking, the length data of the vehicles can better reflect the differences in their visual perception of volume. The order of these 6 cars from largest to smallest is like this. The 70cm long Sauber C44 is still about 15% larger than the Ferrari SF24. Yes, it's only 15%. So where have those extra parts been used? Don't be in a hurry. Let's take a look at the official selling price and the present total price here. Among them, PPP means the price per part. The unit prices of the 4 LEGO sets range from 8 cents to 14 cents. For the 2 sets from CaDA, the prices per part are 2 cents and 4 cents respectively. Of course, since these 3 models released in 2025 haven't been on the market for too long, there will definitely be room for further price drops in the later stage. Generally speaking, when calculated according to PPP or PK, the price of LEGO is roughly 3 to 4 times that of CaDA. Do you think the price difference is significant? In terms of function and design, first of all, it is the suspension design. The front and rear suspensions of these 6 F1 prototype vehicles are respectively front pull and rear push, front push and rear push, front push and rear pull, front pull and rear push, front pull and rear push, front push and rear pull. The LEGO McLaren and the CaDA Sauber F1 cars are not consistent with the prototype vehicles. And both the LEGO McLaren and the Mercedes models have the problem of insufficient suspension support. There is a high probability that after being placed for a long time, they will end up in a situation like this, where they lie flat on the ground directly. That is to say, you can't press it down, and it can't bounce back either. When you push it, there is even a feeling that it is rubbing against the ground. The CaDA Alfa Romeo C42 doesn't have the above 2 problems. However, the assembly difficulty of its suspension is slightly higher than that of LEGO. Considering all aspects, in terms of the suspension, the best performers are Ferrari and Red Bull, followed by Alfa Romeo, and the other 3 all have some problems. Well, if we don't take into account the consistency with the prototype vehicles, the Sauber C44 actually would have been quite good. Moreover, it features a newly designed suspension structure. All in all, it just feels a bit disappointing. As for other functions, such as the linkage between the steering and the steering wheel, and the linkage of the V-shaped 6 engine, all 6 cars are equipped with these 2 functions. But among the 6 cars, only the LEGO Red Bull RB20 and Sauber C44 can make the front wheel blades move synchronously with the front wheels when the vehicle turns. As for the other 4 cars, they all have a design where the front wheel blades are fixed. Looking at the gearbox, only these 2 latest LEGO models, the Ferrari and the Red Bull, are equipped with a very simple 2-speed gearbox. Then there's the DRS rear wing. Among the 6 F1 models, the CaDA Sauber C44 is the only one that can achieve an adjustable DRS rear wing through the linkage of connecting rods. While the other 5 cars are all manually adjusted, that is, directly adjusted by hand. Finally, there is the easily detachable rear cover. Among the 6 cars, except for the early LEGO McLaren and CaDA Alfa Romeo, The other 4 cars support the quick disassembly and assembly of the rear cover. So, as can be seen from the comparison table, in terms of functionality, the 2 new models of Lego and the CaDA Sauber C44 perform relatively well. According to the release time, these 3 cars are exactly the newly released ones in this year. Let's move on to the appearance comparison section. During this process, you guys can post in the bullet comments the one that you think has the best design, the proportion of the overall outline, the nose cone and the front wing, front nose, halo system, side pod, back fin, rear wing, taillights and diffusers, and venturi floor. After making the comparison, although whether the appearance is good-looking or not is a rather subjective matter, in terms of specific designs and styles, we can actually find that there are indeed significant differences between CaDA and Lego. Overall, CaDA tends to pursue a model-level restoration, and it is more concrete in restoring the appearance features. Even it has to make some sacrifices in other aspects for this purpose. And Lego is a bit more abstract. It places greater emphasis on the balance among the appearance, the assembling experience, and the firmness. A typical example is that the 2 models of CaDA have relatively completely restored the F1 Venturi floor. In contrast, all 4 models of Lego have only constructed the splitter. And for another example, the 4 F1 models released by Lego within 3 years only stayed at the stage of restoring the blades above the front wheels. However, the second work of CaDA, that is, the C44, has already restored the entire front wheel blades. There are many similar aspects. For example, the front wing, the specially molded halo system, the rear view mirrors, and the side pods with extremely complex angle designs and so on. In addition, this is also the reason, as mentioned earlier, why the number of parts of CaDA is much larger. As for Lego, in terms of the overall streamlined proportion, the models of McLaren and Red Bull are relatively well done. As for the Mercedes and Ferrari models, there is a bulging surface in front of the halo part. Compared with the other 5 models, the entire nose cone of the Mercedes doesn't give the impression of being particularly slender. Moreover, the circular curve edge of the Ferrari's nose cone hasn't been constructed, and the entire nose cone seems to be a bit shorter. If we don't take into account the brand, the bricks, or the IP of the prototype vehicles, most viewers should probably vote for CaDA in terms of appearance. However, in terms of the overall assembling experience and firmness, the assembling method of CaDA is indeed not as stable and reliable as that of Lego. For example, the side pods of the C42 are mainly composed of brick-like parts. Although it can't be said that they are particularly prone to loosening, there is still a risk of detachment if they are subjected to force. The side pods of the C44, on the other hand, are basically created with complex angles using Technic panels. Although they are not so likely to fall off, the fixing method is relatively flexible, and the assembly process is not as worry-free as that of Lego. The entire front nose is also very flexible. Although there are no major issues, when compared with these Lego models, the assembling experience and firmness are indeed somewhat inferior. Of course, it is still quite good among most brick sets. Well, finally, let's compare the basic aspects of the commercialization of these sets. Let's talk about the tires. Except for the Lego 42141 McLaren, which uses grooved tires, the other 5 models all come with slick tires. Among these 5 models, except for the Lego 42171 Mercedes W14, the tires of the other 4 models are all printed. And both of the 2 models from CaDA feature a tire design with a narrower front and a wider rear, as well as printed wheel hubs. As for Lego, all of its tires have the same width at the front and the rear. In addition, only the Ferrari model has printed wheel hubs. Regarding the advertisements on the F1 car bodies, among the 6 models, only the CaDA Sauber C44 is entirely composed of printed parts, while the other 5 models all adopt the sticker solution. Combined with the printed nameplates and the colorful pictures at the beginning of the manual and other aspects after making these comparisons, it can be said that in terms of using high-quality materials and components, CaDA has indeed put in a great deal of effort. Well, that's it. The comparison of these 6 F1 models is now completed. We hope this can be helpful to all of you, especially the new viewer. In addition to the horizontal comparison table, We have also made a 5-dimensional rating for each of these 6 F1 models here for your reference. Well, that's all for this video. See you in next time.